1. Return. Elena arrived at the coast just after sunrise. The small beach town had barely changed in 15 years. Same crooked wooden sign welcoming visitors to Driftwood Bay. Same weathered porch swings creaking under the slow weight of time. Same smell, salt and pine and memory. She hadn't meant to come back, not really. But sometimes the soul takes the wheel before the mind has time to argue. She parked near the dunes and stepped out barefoot, shoes in one hand, tote bag over her shoulder. The air was soft, the kind of air that carries silence with it. A few seabirds hovered near the tide line, and beyond them the vast stretch of ocean met the sky in a thin, trembling seam. This beach was stitched into her earliest memories, long walks with her father, collecting shells with her mother, summers stretched like taffy across childhood. And then life had unfolded, college, jobs, cities, losses, and the beach had become part of a different era. But something had shifted last winter. Her father's passing had left a silence too deep to ignore. She found herself waking at 3 a.m., yearning for the past in ways that confused her. And so she returned, not seeking answers, but peace. She walked slowly across the cool sand, each step leaving a soft mark behind. Footsteps in the sand, she thought, echoing the old phrase. She remembered it from a poem her mother loved. It had always made her cry, even when she didn't fully understand why.
2. Driftwood and silence. Elena wandered south along the shore, toward the place where the beach curved inward and driftwood collected in quiet piles. The water there moved slower, more gently. She sat on a smooth piece of fallen tree and watched the waves breathe in and out. She thought of her father, his laugh, his silence, the way he always paused before speaking, as if weighing every word like it might be his last. In the final years he had spoken less and less, but his eyes still held the same watchful kindness. She pulled a small journal from her bag and opened it to a blank page. She didn't write, not really, but something about this place asked for words. I miss you, Dad. I miss the way you understood the ocean like it was a part of you. I wonder if you knew I'd come back here. Maybe this place was your last gift. A gust of wind lifted the edge of the page. Elena pressed it down gently, then stared out to sea. The water was a mirror now, holding the sky's light in its ripples. Everything moved, but nothing hurried.
3. The man with the hat. She saw him the next morning, an older man, walking with a cane and a wide-brimmed hat. He moved slowly, deliberately, as though every step mattered. Their paths crossed just beyond the tide line. "Morning," he said, nodding. "Good morning," she replied. They passed each other with polite smiles, and she continued on. But something about him lingered in her mind. His stillness, maybe, or the way he looked out at the water as if in conversation with it. The next day, he was there again, and the day after that, always walking alone, always stopping to stare at the sea. On the 4th day, she paused beside him. "You walk here often," she said. He nodded. "Every morning for the last 9 years." "Why 9? He didn't look at her, but answered calmly, "That's when my wife passed." They stood in silence. "She loved this place," he added after a while. "I think part of her never left." Elena glanced at him. "That's why I came too, for someone who's gone." He finally turned toward her,
his face calm, eyes soft. Funny, isn't it, how the sea holds everything we lose?
4. Shells and letters. Elena began collecting shells again. It started with one small spiral shell she found near the rocks, then another. Soon each morning walk became a quiet search for pieces left behind. She placed them on the windowsill of her rental cottage, one by one, little notes from the sea. One evening, she pulled out her journal and began writing a letter. Dear Mom, I wonder if you knew how often I'd think of you here, how your voice still echoes in the waves. I thought I buried my childhood, but it's still here, in the shells, the sand, the stillness, and I think I needed this more than I knew. She closed the book and watched the sky turn gold.
5. Shared silence. She and the man, whose name she learned was Arthur, began walking together in the mornings, not always speaking, not always needing to. Their silences were not empty, but full. Occasionally he would share a story, how his wife had once painted seashells with watercolor, or how they used to race to the dunes like children. He never offered advice, never asked questions, just walked. On one morning, Elena said, I thought I came here to let go, but maybe I came here to remember. Arthur nodded, not breaking stride. Sometimes they're the same thing.
6. The letter never sent. On her final morning, the air was warmer, heavy with the scent of coming rain. She walked alone. Arthur hadn't appeared. She left a note in his usual driftwood spot. Not a farewell, just a thank you. Back at the cottage, she packed slowly. Her fingers brushed the edges of the shells on the windowsill. She picked 3 of them, the spiral, the blue-tinted clam, and the cracked white one, and placed them in her journal. Then she opened to the last page. Dear me, don't forget this, the quiet, the salt on your skin, the ache in your chest that eased when you let the sea in, the laughter you heard in the waves. You came looking for the past, but you found yourself instead. Keep walking. The footsteps will fade, but the walk remains. She closed the book.
7. Waves will come. As Elena stepped out one last time, the wind picked up, brushing her hair across her cheeks. The tide had come in, erasing all footprints from the morning. The beach was clean again, unmarked. She smiled at the thought. The ocean doesn't keep the marks we leave behind. It washes them gently away, over and over. But it remembers us in other ways, in the stillness it offers, in the stories it carries, in the calm it teaches. She walked toward the water, not to say goodbye, but simply to walk. With each step, the sand gave way, soft and cool beneath her feet. And behind her, briefly, her footsteps followed. The end.